And it came to pass, in the sun-scorched fields of Bethlehem, that the scent of anointing oil lingered on the air, and seen by all but one. The prophet Samuel was gone. The sacred moment, a secret whispered between God and a boy. And David, the chosen one, returned to the wilderness. He walked back into the familiar silence of the hills, the staff in his hand feeling both the same and forever changed. The world saw only a shepherd, a forgotten son tending his father's flock. But the weight of a divine calling, a crown he could not yet see, now rested upon his young shoulders. He did not understand the meaning of the oil, the gravity of the promise. He only knew that something within him had shifted, like the turning of the earth itself. He was alone, yet he had never been less alone. The days that followed were not filled with celebration or honor. They were filled with the lonely bleating of sheep and the vast, indifferent sky. But the nights grew darker than he had ever known. The winds howled with a new and unfamiliar voice, carrying not just the chill of the evening, but a palpable sense of menace. Storms gathered on the horizon, their thunder not merely a sound, but a tremor in the spiritual realm. The familiar wilderness, his lifelong sanctuary, was transforming. It was becoming a crucible. In the deepening twilight, as the last rays of sun bled from the hills, David began to sense them. Unseen forces moved in the periphery. The shadows themselves seemed to have substance, to watch him with a malevolent intelligence. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, was no longer just a sound of the wild. It was a challenge, a test. The wilderness, once a place of solitary peace, was now a training ground for a battle he could not yet name. Fear, cold and sharp, tried to find a home in his heart. But the anointing oil had sealed it shut. It was here, in this theater of shadows, that David's prayers began to change. The simple pleas of a shepherd boy faded away, replaced by the petitions of a warrior. He did not pray for safety. He prayed for strength. He did not ask for the darkness to flee. He asked for the courage to stand within it. His words, whispered into the howling wind, became declarations of faith, spoken against the encroaching dread. He was learning the language of spiritual warfare, not with a sword, but with a surrendered heart. The boy was disappearing, and the king was being forged in the furnace of solitude. Then came the night when the whispers took form. A roar, deep and guttural, tore through the stillness of the midnight air, a sound that promised death. It was not the familiar cry of a jackal or the howl of a wolf. This was the sound of a true predator, a king of the wilderness. From the impenetrable blackness, a lion emerged, its eyes glowing like embers in the dark. It was a beast of pure, primal force, its muscles coiled for the kill. It lunged not at David, but at the flock, the lifeblood of his family, the charge given to him. This was no ordinary animal attack. This was a test, sent from the very heart of the abyss. It was the first real challenge to the holy oil on his brow. The shadow world was asking a question: is this chosen one truly worthy? For a fleeting moment, the boy in him screamed to run, to abandon the sheep and save himself. But the king within him rose to answer. An unearthly calm settled over David. He did not hesitate. He did not flinch. With nothing but his staff and his sling, he ran toward the roar, his feet guided by a power not his own. The battle that followed was a whirlwind of dust and fury, a cinematic clash under a sliver of moon. It was the shepherd against the beast, the anointed against the abyss. And when the dust settled, the lion lay slain. Greatness is not born in comfort. It is forged in the crucible of danger. As David stood over the fallen beast, his chest heaving, something profound awakened within him. The adrenaline faded, but it was replaced by a new and permanent fire. He looked at his own hands, the hands of a shepherd, and saw the hands of a giant slayer. He felt the Spirit of God not just upon him but coursing through him, a supernatural current that had turned his boyish frame into a vessel of divine might. The fear was gone, consumed by a holy courage. He was no longer ordinary. He would never be ordinary again. He was a guardian, a protector, a warrior king in hiding. His anointing was now sealed not just in oil, but in blood. He returned home at dawn, weary and stained, but carrying a quiet victory in his soul. But in his father's house, there was no hero's welcome. His older brothers, tall and proud, saw only the youngest, the one they left in the fields. They saw the dirt, not the valor. They smelled the sheep, not the triumph. Did you get lost chasing a stray lamb, little brother? They would mock, their laughter sharp and dismissive. They looked at him and saw a nobody, a dreamer fit only for the wilderness. They did not know they were mocking their future king. They could not see the secret crown he carried, the invisible mantle of destiny upon his shoulders. And herein lies the lesson. Men may measure you by what they see, but God measures you by the destiny he has placed within. Your calling is not subject to the approval of the crowd. While David was being forged in the secret fires of the wilderness, a different kind of darkness was descending upon the kingdom of Israel. In the gilded halls of the palace, a throne sat under a gathering gloom. King Saul, the ruler of the nation, was a man tormented. An evil spirit, a malevolent presence sent to trouble his soul, clung to him like a shroud. The king's mood swung from paranoia to fits of violent rage, and a palpable fear began to poison the entire kingdom. The court whispered. The generals grew anxious. The light of Israel was dimming, overshadowed by the instability of its king. In their desperation, Saul's servants sought a remedy, a balm for their monarch's tortured mind. They decided a musician was needed, someone whose melodies could soothe the troubled spirit and bring a moment of peace. And so, a messenger was dispatched, sent to search the land for a man of skill and spirit. The search did not lead them to the great cities or the schools of the prophets. It led them down a forgotten path, guided by a whispered memory. One of Saul's own servants spoke up, his voice cutting through the fearful silence of the court. "I have seen a son of Jesse the Bethlehemite," he said. He received the message with a humble heart, unaware that this summons was the turning of a great key in the lock of his destiny. He was not being called to perform. He was being called to his throne, though the path to it was shrouded in shadow. The wind blew hard across the hills of Judea, carrying the dust of the road with it. The great gates of the royal city loomed before him, imposing and immense. Behind them, a kingdom languished in fear. Inside, a tormented king waited for relief, unknowing that his replacement now stood at his door. David, the boy from the wilderness, clutched his harp, his heart steady, his spirit calm. He took a breath, and he stepped forward, the shepherd steps into the halls of kings, unaware that his shadow is destined to shake the foundations of nations.